All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you. So notice is hereby given of the regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Town of Westfield in the County of Union, New Jersey at 7 p.m. on the evening of Tuesday, May 8th, 2018 at Tamaqua School, 641 Willow Grove Road, Westfield, New Jersey. The purpose of this meeting is to transact the regular business of the board and to transact any other business to come properly before the board. This is to advise the general public and to instruct that it be recorded in the minutes that in compliance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, entitled the Open Public Meetings Act, the Westfield School Board on Thursday, May 3rd, 2018, caused to be posted at the office of the Board of Education located at 302 Elm Street, Westfield, New Jersey, and delivered to the Westfield Leader, the Star Ledger, the Westfield Library, Town Clerk of Westfield, Tap into Westfield, and Patch.com, a meeting notice setting forth the time, date, and location of this meeting. Dana, can we have a roll call, please?
Kent Diamond.
Here.
Brendan Galligan. Here. Robert Garrison. Gretchen Olig.
Here.
Peggy Oster.
Here.
Charles Ostroff.
Here.
Amy Root.
Here. If you could join me in a flag salute, please. One second. Perfect, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. So we don't very often get lots of little voices join us in the flag salute, so that was great. It's a wonderful way to start the meeting. And tonight we're going to begin our meeting with a special tribute to the teaching profession, which is appropriate this week, right? Teacher Appreciation Week. So I'm going to turn the meeting over to Dr. Dolan to start the presentation.
So by far, this is one of our favorite board meetings of the year because it's the year we get to celebrate our elementary teachers. And the elementary teachers are the ones who provide the foundation for our students for the rest of their careers. And we're very, very happy that our own Westfield Rotary group in town, this is the 26th year where they've sponsored a competition known as the Philhauer Award for one elementary teacher. Out of all the elementary teachers in Westfield, we choose one. It's based on letters that are written by students and former students and parents and other teachers. And of course, we're very thrilled that this year's award winner comes from Tamaqua School. So since this year's award winner is from Tamaqua School, I'm going to introduce the principal of Tamaqua School, and that would be Mr. David Dulks, to continue the ceremony.
All right, thank you, Dr. Dolan. Thank you, President Olig, members of the Board of Education. Thank you for being here this evening. It is my absolute pleasure to be hosting this year's Philhauer Award. I am so proud of Ms. Montez, which I'll get to in a minute, but just proud of this school and this Tamaqua community. Just looking at the parents and the children here, this is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. This is why we do what we do. This is why we work so hard to come together as a community and to forge that partnership. So thank you all for being here this evening. So each year, the Philhauer Committee, the Westfield Rotary Club, recognizes an outstanding elementary school teacher. And this year, I am incredibly proud to say that Tamaqua School is home of this year's winner, Miss Mary Montez. Miss Montez, I think it would be appropriate if you come on up here and sit in your beach chair. This is where you'll be most comfortable for the next 10, 15 minutes or so. And I would just like to add, Miss Montez, stand up a minute. Show everybody that shirt. Show everyone that shirt.
You saw me. I was professional all morning.
So Miss Montez said to me, Mr. Dogs, please tell everyone that I wore a dress today to the luncheon. And she did. But then she and her children decided, this is Mary Montez, this is Miss Montez, and this shirt is certainly appropriate. And it's, you know, Mayor Brindle once said that your room was magical. Look at those lights. Yeah, she did. She wore it to the first day of school. So I was in the process of putting some words together for this evening, and then I looked out my office window and I saw Miss Montez pull up with her mother and father. And I was watching them, and they walked in front of the school, and they looked at the garden, and I just kept watching them, and I wasn't writing. And I, just started drifting away. And then the Donahues came in, and we met one another, and we ended up talking for the next 20 minutes or so. So, welcome, Mr. and Mrs. Donahue family, Montez children. Congratulations to you as well. So I have no problem, even though I didn't write a speech per se. Miss Montez is the type of person that I think I could do a pretty good job. So being an elementary teacher, being a teacher is something that we all know is very difficult. It's not easy, right? And people outside of education sometimes don't truly know what teaching is all about and what it goes into, and the hard work and the dedication and the time. And when I had said earlier that, we celebrate this award as a school, and I really mean that. We are so proud of you and your accomplishments, as it's so well deserved. But as a principal of this school, I feel like that we are celebrating. I feel like we won with you. I feel like we won this together, because as a school, what we do each and every day is we come to work. Our teachers have to put on that smiley face, right? Even on tough days when things aren't so easy, right? When the weather's not so good, maybe they were caught in traffic, or maybe they're not feeling so well. Our teachers come to school and they turn that switch on, right? And that smile comes on, right? Because this is what all these beautiful children, that's what they wait for. That's what they can't wait to see, right? And we make kids feel safe. We make kids feel appreciated. We make kids feel loved, right? We make kids feel like they're important, right? That's what teachers do, and that is what Mary Montez epitomizes. Each and every day, she finds a way to find the good. She finds a way to find the good. And that is a personal goal of hers. And it's something that as a staff that we appreciate. And that's why we share this prestigious award with you, and why we are so proud of you as a school. I mentioned when we turned the lights on, Mayor Brindle paid us a visit during Kindness Month, and she walked and she visited classrooms, and she walked into Miss Montez's classrooms, and the kids' eyes lit up. And she looked around and she said, "Wow, this room is magical." And it was the biggest compliment I think Miss Montez, outside of Dr. Dolan saying that, of course, saying that this room is magical, her face lit up and did you hear that, Dulks? Did you hear that, Dulks? Do you hear what she said? Right? Yeah. But that's exactly what it is. It's a magical classroom where each and every day kids feel loved. They feel appreciated, and they are able to grow, and they are able to explore, their creativity. They're able to learn in a risk-free environment where they're allowed to make mistakes, and they learn from those mistakes and they grow. And that is the type of environment that Ms. Montez fosters for these children. These children sitting in front of me right now, these young adults sitting in front of me that have had her as a teacher, or just Tamaulipas students that maybe did not have her, that just know Ms. Montez. And that's the type of person that she is. And I'm sure her beautiful children could speak to that when their friends come over. People who come in contact with Ms. Montez generally walk away feeling pretty good about themselves. So, she makes people feel appreciated. She makes people feel wanted, not just her children, but her colleagues as well, right? If a colleague is in need, if they're going through a difficult time, it's Ms. Montez who organizes something to help that colleague out. So it extends, throughout the entire school community. And when I first came on board in the winter of 2015, I was only there maybe a few days, or maybe it was that summer. Ms. Montez says, I have something for you. She brought me a jar. I don't know if this was foreshadowing, but she brought me a jar of blessed water from the ocean. She says, you're probably going to need this. And with her Ms. Montez handwriting, she wrote blessed on it from Feast of the Assumption. And she told me how the priest went out and blessed the water, and she put it in a jar. In case Mr. Dulks has any of those tough days, I go to this jar, right? And it's something that's been in my office. So it's those types of little things that Ms. Montez thinks of, right? And that's what makes her so special. So Ms. Montez, on behalf of Tamaulipas School, on behalf of the Board of Education, the Rotary Club, we congratulate you, we celebrate you. We're incredibly proud of you, as this is a well-deserved award. And it's not your turn to talk yet. So I will now hand it over to two former students. One student is a current third grader, and his sister is a current sixth grader at Edison Intermediate School. So will the Cabrales children please come on up?
Miss Montez is an extraordinary teacher. She is someone everyone wants to be around. She is always kind and makes schoolwork and learning fun. On the first day of school, she leaves every student in her class a hand-painted shell on their doorstep. It helped me not to be nervous about the first day of school. On field day, she played each and every game with us. She is always happy and makes school fun. Once at recess, I had no one to play with, and she asked me if I wanted to play. She did not think twice about it, but it meant a lot to me. And that is why I'm so happy that she won this award.
Should be okay for you.
Wait,
Want me to hold it?
can I just move it down?
Okay, how's that?
Yep, perfect. Okay. It's hard to put into such few words how amazing Miss Montez is. Every year there is that one teacher that everyone wants. That's Miss Montez. It's not hard to see why. She treats every student in the school, even if they aren't in her class, like they are her own child. She is always so caring, funny, and the kind of person that you want to be around. She is exactly the kind of person who should be shaping the minds of the future. Miss Montez balances hard work, respect, and fun. She creates an environment that gets kids excited to learn. Miss Montez always embraced our creativity, no matter how crazy it was. I remember we were doing a project about saving an animal. Of course, I chose bunnies because they're my favorite animal. She let me make paper bunny ears, whiskers, and a tail. She was open to our ideas, and I will always be grateful for that. I can truly say that Miss Montez made learning fun. She gives kids reasons to want to go to school, to want to learn. Miss Montez is also actively involved in school activities. On field day, she is running around, playing, and having fun with the kids. You will always see her at recess with groups of kids around her. She ran with the kids in the color run and had kids lining up to take pictures with her afterward. She is always involved in the Tamaulipas Variety Show. She's the teacher that everyone gravitates to. If you see her around town, she stops and says hi. She even treated some of us to ice cream when we saw her at Tamaulipas Park. All in all, Miss Montez is an amazing teacher and person. She helps to make kids to the best they can be. To this day, she is still my favorite teacher. She is awesome all around, and I just can't put into words how amazing she is. No one is more deserving of this award. Congratulations, Miss Montez, and I'm so happy for you.
Great job. Good job. Way to go. So that is correct. Every summer, Miss Montez has her brothers, her kids, her family members down in Lavalette walk the beach, and they pick up those big clam skimmer shells, and she writes a little message for each of her children, and she places them on their doorstep the night before the first day of school. Pretty cool, huh? Mrs. Upman, Mrs. Riley, Mrs. Fariello, Mrs. D'Onofrio, why don't you come on up?
You guys are being so good. Good job. You good? Mary is such an inspiration to us and her students. And knowing Mary, her fuel for the day is love from her family, her students, her friends, and on occasion, some inspirational quotes. So Mary has meaningful quotes all around her classroom, her house, and even in our ladies' room here at school. So we've chosen some of our favorite quotes that remind us of Mary. So this one is like a little snippet from a Maya Angelou quote, but I just like the end of it. People will never forget the way you made them feel. And it was a lot of what Mr. Dolk said, actually, because you make everybody feel like a somebody. So important, so special. We try so hard to teach our students kindness and empathy and respect, and you lead by this example every single day. The way you empower kids by listening and allowing them to share, sometimes overshare, makes them feel strong and confident and intelligent and so loved. You remember all the little things about them. Thank you for making us laugh and supporting us and putting your Mary touch on everything. You make us feel so special, so loved here.
So the quote that I chose actually came right from your classroom. In Mrs. Montez's classroom, it says, "With a little heart and a helping hand, we can achieve anything." Any student that has worked with Mary has this understanding, whether they know this quote or not. Mary instills these beliefs into the students she works with. I'm extremely lucky to teach right in the classroom next to Mary's. I've passed her room countless times when she has her students engaged in some lesson out in the hall or around the school. The one that always sticks with me is her I can't lesson. Mary has the students write down the words I can't on a piece of paper. They then crumble up the paper and literally throw it away because I can'ts are not allowed. This lesson is so closely related not just to my quote, but to all of our quotes today. It shows the person that Mary is. She's kind, caring, and is there to support you at all times. I've learned so much about teaching and life in general from her. She's an amazing mentor and role model. I'm so happy to call Mary not just my colleague, but my friend. I'm thrilled to be here celebrating this wonderful honor with her.
Yes, Mary, we raided your classroom. And we went on a little reconnaissance mission to decide which pieces we were going to lift and bring here. And we all chose a quote. And I chose this one because it's so true of you. It's brighten the corner where you are. You are literally in the corner at Tamarquez School, way at the end of the hallway. If you've ever seen her classroom before, it's all the way at the end, all the way in the corner. And it is the brightest spot in our school, for sure. It's beautiful, it reflects you and who you are and what you want your students to feel every day, as everyone has already mentioned. So thank you very much for being an inspiring colleague. I become a better teacher every time I bump up into you and we do something together. I learn something I can use right away and that my students benefit from. My first time crossing paths with you, you were a parent here with kids in strollers. So it's really been lovely to keep bumping into you over the years, and I'm really thrilled now to be your colleague and your friend. So congratulations, I'm thrilled for you.
Now, if anybody knows me, every time I look at Mary, I cry. And I've had the distinct honor of sharing another colleague's quote who could not be here. And fortunately, if you were at the variety show, I have a very, clear way. I'll show you. So, as you can see, right now I am not Mrs. Riley, but I am Miss Julia Korn. And she chose a quote that was very dear to her in a very special place in the outdoor classroom. Advice from a tree. Stand tall and proud. Sink your roots into the earth. Be content with your natural beauty. Go out on a limb. Remember your roots. Enjoy the view. And Miss Montez, you are our view. And we all look up to you every day. So that was from Miss Korn. Now, the one that I wanted to share was very simple, one that you gave me many years ago and hangs in my classroom and yours. So I stole it from you so I could keep mine. Be silly, be honest, and be kind. And that's Mary.
Ready? We're going to sneak around. I'll come around this way. Okay. Nice and loud. Good. Start with the title. We wrote you a little poem, Miss Montez. I thought that was the one we made for Mr. Dole. No, this is for you. Oh, it's Mary Palooza night. Okay. Are you ready? You guys gonna read it? Let's start with the title. How to be Miss Montez. Be kind to everyone. Teach us extraordinary things. Have special fancy handwriting. Have pink hair sometimes. Love nature and the earth. Share your knowledge. Find the good in everything. Love the first grade scholars. You thought of that one?
Ms. Montez, before we have you come up here for, I think maybe you'll have about a minute or so.
He knows you're here, my brother.
We'll have the PTO presidents come up, Mrs. Rebecca Skangas and Mrs. Darcy Varner, to present you with a small gift, our wonderful PTO co-presidents.
On behalf of the PTO, we are thrilled that you, Mrs. Montez, won the Phil Hauer Award. You are a unique teacher who enriches our students and our community every day. We want to thank you and we want to present to you just a small token of our appreciation, and we're so glad that we can work with you and make our school a better place today and going forward. Thank you so much.
We could put that down.
Am I up right now?
Yep. All right, what we've all been waiting for, right, kids? All right, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, everyone, the Phil Howard Teacher of the Year, Miss Mary Montez, Tamaqua Elementary School.
Oh, my God. Oh, no. Did we say the Donahue boys are in the house? Oh, my brother is sitting with you. Can you guys make sure he sits respectfully and listens? You could stay. You could stay. He's a teacher, too. So, that explains my first line right there. Before I speak, can you all hear me? I need to say that I come from a big family, always together, large gatherings replete with toasts, and usually, when they see papers in my hands, my 3 older brothers make a comment or two. So to avoid that heckling from the crowd, I need to share that I was actually asked to speak. And they told me for a few minutes, so do not comment, thank you. There are many educators in my family, superintendents, professors. My dad eventually left the business world to be a Fordham professor, and my brother Jimmy, that guy right there, presently teaches middle school English in the South Bronx. He has been known to catch a bluefish on the Jersey coast, scale it, and gut it with his class, and turn it all into a writing lesson. So all of this is just in my blood. My brother Pete has spent most of his years as an award-winning daily news reporter, but he enjoys all of our school banter. It goes on and on and on. A bit more so now that his wife is teaching again. I am so proud to be able to share a glimpse of my days at Tamaqua with them all here tonight. Oh my goodness, I talk about how much I love my job. Now do you people understand it? I think you do. Thank you to the Westfield Rotary Club and to my very own parents. My first grade team has an ongoing joke about my enthusiasm for making amazing connections. But this most important connection was not my doing. The Rotary Club is Westfield's largest service organization, and my parents, the perfect combination of strength and humor, modeled and inspired and continued to teach my 3 brothers and I to always think beyond ourselves. For example, I vividly remember one of many family excursions to visit a very old man, not quite homeless but close, living in what seemed to be an old chicken coop. And on the drive back home, my dad happily saying to my mom, "Oh, now I understand where all my suit jackets went." Thank you to Dr. Dolan and the Westfield Board of Education. Years ago, I copied down a Horace Mann quote displayed on Elm Street and now in my home. Doing nothing for others is the undoing of oneself. Dr. Dolan, you asked me to speak about the experiences and rewards of teaching elementary children, and the rest of Horace Mann's words explain my daily gratitude. The experiences and the rewards of being a teacher are, for me, one and the same. Horace Mann, like Charles Philhauer, was dedicated to public education. He said, "We must purposely be kind and generous, or we miss the best part of existence. The heart which goes out of itself gets large and full." This explains quite literally how I feel in this moment. And with an overflowing heart, I thank Barbara Ball, Michael Cullen, and our Tamaqua school principal now, David Dulks, for the initial and ongoing opportunity, indeed blessing, to spend my days right here teaching and learning. Mr. Dulks, your positive messages set the tone for our days, and I'm personally grateful that you can take a little detour from all that you need to do in order to come and visit and enjoy some of the incredible moments in all of our classrooms. All of the first grade scholars are eager to share with you. I also appreciate our shared competitiveness. Is it really the worst idea to have tryouts for the faculty volleyball team? I don't think so. I mean, you can post the cuts. We have a counselor. Is Mary Beth Herritz here? We can handle it. Actually, one of my fondest memories is that faculty game when you were visibly not pleased with our performance. I don't think you know this, but I do think you will appreciate it now that I think about it. I know my dad will appreciate this. Each year, I line up my class and teach them how to throw a ball correctly. We didn't do it yet. We're going to do it. Okay? Stepping with the opposite foot. Then I tell the girls that when someone says, "You throw like a girl," they can simply smile and say, "Thank you." Thank you to the Tamaulipas PTO cultivating our garden and our outreach to the community, and to each member of this extended Tamaulipas family, starting with Christine Riley, the original STEM buddy, and so much more, who welcomed and guided me to this side of the U. All 4 of my children are Tamaulipas alumni, so I was a Tamaulipas parent following the driving rules on the U before becoming a Tamaulipas teacher. My children all thank you too. I can thank them for helping me deliver the shells to my new students' doorsteps the night before school each year, but they too have been blessed to experience the joy of it all. As a shy but strong student, Marlena was able to help Mrs. Petriano, always the first grade matriarch, to administer the spelling tests. Amalia, another scholar athlete, loved that I was cheering for her on the basketball court while writing back to my students in their journals. Izzy returned to Tamaulipas as a transition leader, inspiring students who might not yet picture for themselves a clear and successful academic path. And some of James's fondest school memories are of his days right here. Actually, right here in this gym. For sure, right, James? A true testament to all of their Tamaulipas teachers, to all that they have learned from you, and for all of the great experience they have shared with you, is the fact that my daughters in college, New Jersey colleges, I say proudly, Marlena at Kane, Amalia at Rutgers, Izzy at Monmouth, all plan to join us as teachers. Thank you again to the Rotary Club, as organizations such as yours have provided scholarships which enable my daughters to continue their education and pursue the best profession there is. And thank you to the first grade dream team, Utman, Fariello, D'Onofrio. The joke has always been that I have 3 teenage daughters at home and at school, so I welcome another mama to the team. Zemsky, Korn, always, Tessier, DeFabio, Curry, Doyle, Criffo, for always indulging me as we conquer the curriculum and beyond, connecting all aspects, sometimes a bit too spontaneously for you, I am sure. Thank you doesn't even begin to cover it. Linda and Tracy, thank you for keeping us on course and going with an occasional on-the-spot claim evidence reasoning. And thank you, and Jenna, my only blonde daughter, my soul sister of spontaneity, for all of our shared math and science lessons, sometimes exploring first and then realizing how many core content standards we have actually touched upon. You truly know my students and their unique learning styles and vast interests as I know yours. Our entire team navigates through challenges together and celebrates endless first grade successes. Just days ago, we were so excited to share the new shipment of butterfly larvae with our students, only to open a box filled with pill bugs. Not quite as enchanting, I must admit. I am quite certain that these words, illustrating our true mastery of flexibility, are unique to us. When life gives you pill bugs, make a terrarium. It all works because of you. I absolutely share this tremendous honor with each and every one of you as we work daily with a shared vision in mind and heart in what I do call the best gig ever. I had hoped to read each of your names. Each of us is a blessing for the other, to share yet another quote, because we are blessed with custodians who prepare our school, field of dreams style. If you build it, they will come. Community helpers who get us here safely, secretaries who take care of forgotten lunches, book orders, and everything in between. A school nurse and counselor helping us to shine on the inside and out. Specials teachers leading us to song, inspiring us to create and travel through books, and to run out there, and the first grade teachers really appreciate that. It's a long day in that classroom. Speech and language teachers, therapists and specialists, special education, achieve and resource teachers, guiding us through it all with growing skills and confidence. Second grade teachers who make it a sought-after reward to come and read to us. Third and fourth grade teachers who share and even perform their learning. Fifth grade teachers facilitating friendships with fifth grade buddies, and allowing us to visit and share our knowledge, and paraprofessionals, sometimes the unsung heroes in schools, side by side with us, informing us and always working to make each day better for teachers and students alike. And of course, thank you to all of my students. Are you listening, people? Are you with me? Past and present, although Petey and Caitlin never past, always present. Lunch and recess students, after-school homework club students, and their families. I am humbled and honored and truly grateful beyond words for my days learning and indeed laughing with you all. While I may have had a few unique moments, greeting my new principal with iridescent gray hair and a shawl, dressed as a 100-year-old woman on the 100th day of school, on one of his first days as my new boss, and kicking off my shoes, literally jumping out of my seat, they know exactly what I'm talking about, to volunteer during the stunt bike riding assembly, thinking I would ride a bike, not lay on the ground clutching Steve Markowski for dear life, as the bike flew a few inches over us. It taught them, we talk about this a lot actually, that, don't raise your hand and volunteer before you know what I'm going to ask you. I taught you that, people. I am not at all unique, however, in terms of my dedication and efforts as a teacher, but I do welcome the chance to speak. My brother said I can't use the word briefly here. I promise, about the passion for teaching. It is fitting to gather here tonight, since this is where we greet our students each and every morning, about to venture to another day's explorations and celebrations. If you could see how our days begin, the strength of a group hug almost knocking me over as I try to listen to the barrage of news, ranging from, this is verbatim, I lost a tooth, I read for 144 minutes straight, I saw a sheep being born, I made binoculars and a slideshow, can I tape it? I went to Chuck E. Cheese and Chucky hugged me. I found a caterpillar in my backyard, can I bring him? His name is Henry Jr. Usually all at once, while fielding the various items being handed to me. The very day when I was surprised with Dr. Dolan and Mr. Dolks' visit started at 8:40 a.m. with one of my students sharing the kindness card she had made for me, which included a picture of me, definitely me, lots of big, crazy, multicolored hair, and the words, "Somebody's old, but they are young on the inside." I was processing that while carrying 2 bunches of flowers, no doubt plucked from a neighbor's yard on the way to school, items that had already been confiscated by the morning supervisors, a megaphone, at least 1 basketball, even a handmade aromatic diffuser. Trying to guide my crew down the hallway, nodding to all that was being shared, as one student walked and simultaneously read a few pages from his book, excited and determined to tell me in that moment that he had made a connection to Jane Goodall, who had worked to save animals from extinction. Then, it was 8:41 a.m. And so each day begins. I simply cannot imagine being anywhere else. I have always loved school. I cried when the first day of school was canceled due to a hurricane, recopied entire notebooks to make them neater, much to my brother's dismay. Raised my hand to speak during family dinners. Did I mention that they're older brothers? Didn't go over very well. And knew very early on, as I made each child I babysat learn how to write their name, that I would one day be a teacher. And on the topic of quotes and connections, as a Rutgers student, I was further inspired by my mother. After a full career as head nurse at the Cornell Medical Center, she seamlessly organized the university's library system, all the while adorning my bedroom door with book covers saying girls can be anything. My mother's never-ending strength and action, and my father's simple yet profound, and much like Horace Mann's words, for me to get out of myself, led me to volunteer in a soup kitchen, and truly led me to all of this. I sat with 5-year-olds eating lunch before heading to afternoon kindergarten, and decided to forego other teaching opportunities in order to do so in Newark. I thought that I was going to be the one sharing lessons, that I was going where I was needed most. But as I visited students in homeless shelters and hospitals because they wanted to do their homework, and visited the projects with a pair of sneakers so that one student could walk to school, and as one student, Marcia, I will never forget, turned to say, "I believe in myself, Miss Donahue," as a DIFUS worker escorted her out of my classroom and hopefully to a safer home, I realized that it was my smart, strong, resilient students who were the ones sharing the lessons with me. My students now, my creative, kind, witty, wise, strong students, teach me, each student, each class, each year. If I am even considered to be a positive presence in the life of a child fighting through chemo, a child trying to learn each day despite the loss of a parent, a student brand new to the country, or any student simply nervous to be starting the school year, then I am the one who is truly blessed. We are in a beautiful position as first grade teachers to be a big part of the school's welcoming committee. Our students visit us in May of their kindergarten year, and we, rain or shine, trek to the garden to plant a seed in what is now the first grade pumpkin patch. When our students return in the fall, they observe that growth as they begin their own, as readers, writers, mathematicians, scientists, historians, respectful citizens. The first grade year is truly one of extraordinary evolution. Our students learn about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and can explain as 6- and 7-year-olds that the content of their character means they can use their smart brains and kind hearts to make the world even better. My eclectic classroom also evolves with our learning. My students create most of it, starting with the alphabet chart on the first day of school, and they can guide any visiting teacher through our daily lessons. I do happen to embrace each teachable moment. One student brought in a goldfish, and now Dorothy, the editing goldfish, swims on our editor's desk and shares writing tips. And I do welcome reflections and connections, probably too many, and cherish the lessons that enable us to bring it all together. Growing the carrots in the garden and then measuring them for math, connecting language and social studies with our monarch butterfly life cycle observations and migration project. It is never quite a straight path, and yet I promise you, Dr. Dolan, we encounter every aspect of the curriculum en route, even taking it further along with us as we explore. And we do so joyfully. The Book of Joy, a non-denominational book written by the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu, reaffirms for me that joy and kindness and a meaningful day helping others are all interrelated. In an effort to keep our little 1M world positive, my students helped me to write a new message to wear on this button each day. I am presently wearing the one message that seems to work as a daily goal for us all. We find the good. We strive to work hard and be nice, in the words of my beloved brother Pat, and to indeed be the good first and foremost. A few more words which hang in my home, and I promise the last ones I will share, are let your life speak. Let your life speak. Simple and true, and I think reflective of all of our lives as teachers and learners. I am the lucky one to spend my days working with and working for people whose lives already speak so beautifully. My students' enthusiasm for learning and their growth, academic and otherwise, continues to inspire me, and I hope we can inspire all of you. Look around. There is so much good to be found. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Somebody said, one of my students just said, give a speech. I gave the speech. I gave the speech. Thank you, boys and girls. You made my day. Thank you for all of your work. This is beautiful. Thank you to everyone. I am blown away by all of this. I really am. And it just shows my family exactly what I've been saying every day. I am the lucky one. I would not want to be anywhere else. Thank you so much.
You can't escape just yet. Hang on. So,
All right, guys.
when you're,
They're going to take the flowers away from me. You know what I'm saying?
you guys have done such a great job. We are almost done. when you're on the board for a few years, there's a sort of rhythm to what we do. And I can echo what Dr. Dolan said, that this is by far one of our favorite nights of the year. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing your experience. And clearly your life has spoken volumes already. So it's a pleasure to meet you, actually. And also on behalf of the Westfield Board of Education, I would like to present you with this resolution, which I will read for the record. So it's a resolution by the Board of Education of Westfield, New Jersey to Mary Montez, the Rotary Club of Westfield 2018 Phil Hauer Fellow. Whereas Charles Phil Hauer distinguished himself as an outstanding educator during 30 years of service as Westfield Superintendent of Schools from 1917 to 1947, helping establish Westfield as a premier school district in the state of New Jersey. And whereas the Rotary Club of Westfield has established a fellowship in memory of Charles Phil Hauer, a co-founder and past president of the Rotary Club. And whereas this memorial is a fitting tribute to the importance of teaching in the elementary grades and the nobility of the teaching profession. And whereas Mary Montez, a first grade teacher at Tamaqua Elementary School, who has been serving Westfield elementary students since 2009, has been awarded the 26th annual Phil Hauer Fellowship for outstanding teaching, interest in children, and continued pursuit of professional growth. And whereas Mary Montez is commended for her infectious enthusiasm for teaching, her creative and child-centered educational strategies, and her commitment and dedication to the children and families of Westfield, particularly by instilling a love of learning in her students and making each one feel special. Now therefore be it resolved that this Board of Education publicly express appreciation to the Rotary Club for establishing this award, and that this Board of Education sincerely congratulates Mary Montez for being named the 2018 Charles Phil Hauer Fellow, a significant honor and a notable accomplishment, and that this resolution be presented to Mary Montez on May 8th, 2018, and that a copy of this formal resolution becomes a part of the permanent records of this Board of Education. Congratulations. You're welcome. So, Dr. Dolks, I want to thank you for letting us host our meeting here and getting to spend some time in your wonderful school. And I want to thank the PTSO also. I understand there are refreshments, so we're going to suspend the business for a little bit, let you guys partake, and then we'll begin again in 9 minutes, maybe, we'll say. Thank you very much. Thank you again. Thank you. All right. We are going to start our meeting. Thank you. So I think we will jump right back in with announcements. Kent, do you have any? Oh, sorry. Amy, go ahead. Do you have any announcements?
So many. Let me get started, actually. Yep. Is this on?
I don't know.
I'm trying. Oh, there we go. Closer. Okay. All right. I have several announcements. The first one, Roosevelt Intermediate School teacher Matthew Califatt has been awarded a Carnegie Medal from the Carnegie Hero Fund Commission. The Carnegie Medal is given throughout the United States and Canada to those who risk their lives to an extraordinary degree while saving or attempting to save the lives of others. Mr. Califatt, who teaches language arts and journalism at Roosevelt, rescued a 26-year-old woman who was floating unconscious in the water and being pulled away from shore at Point Pleasant Beach in September 2016. Congratulations to Mr. Califatt for this well-deserved honor. And then, for Westfield High School, Westfield High School has been named a Safe Sports School First Team by the National Athletic Trainers Association. Congratulations to our athletic trainers, Steve Barandica and Nicole Castellano, and to Westfield Athletic Director Sandra Maymary and her team for their commitment to keeping our young athletes safe. And my final announcement is congratulations to the following Westfield High School students who were accepted into the 2018-2019 All-State Choruses. These students prepared an audition that consisted of scales, a solo, a quintet, and tonal memory testing. The students were chosen from more than 1,000 students who auditioned from across the state. For the 2018 Mixed Chorus, we have Charlotte Geary from the 11th grade, Zachary Lemberg from the 11th grade, Joseph Maldonado, 11th grade, Vincent Mora from the 10th grade, Nicole Player, my neighbor, from the 11th grade, and Matthew Ceroti, also 11th grade. And then from the 2019 treble chorus, we have Allison Brown from the 11th grade and Samantha Horvath from the 9th grade. Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, Kent.
I have a few announcements as well. Each year, the American Association of Teachers of French organizes a nationwide French exam called Le Grand Concours. This year, more than 75,000 elementary and secondary students across the country participated in the contest. 37 students at Westfield High School took part in Le Grand Concours with 4 gold medals, 4 silver medals, 6 bronze medals, and 14 honorable mentions. Bravo to all the students and the French teachers, Marie Bellevue, Murray Larray Hoffman, and Rachel Janus. Next, thank you. Next announcement. 148 juniors and 12 seniors from Westfield High School were inducted into the National Honor Society on April 26. Congratulations to all, and a special thanks to National Honor Society advisor Scott Rutherford. And lastly, an important message from the Parent-Teacher Council Allergy Committee. As parents, most of us have had a child with food allergies in our care at some time. Recently, FAIR, Food Allergy Research and Education, produced an official training video on recognizing and responding to anaphylaxis. In recognition of Food Allergy Awareness Week, May 13th to the 19th, the PTC Allergy Committee would like to share this 15-minute training for all those interested in refreshing their skills. This video can be found on the district website under the Parent Resources tab. Thank you.
Thank you. Charles.
So from the Westfield High School bands in collaboration with Edison Intermediate School and Roosevelt Intermediate School will present their 7th annual Jazz Under the Stars on Saturday, May 12th, beginning at 5:30 in the courtyard of Westfield High School. This event is open to the entire community and will feature performances by the Westfield High School Choraliers, as well as the jazz bands from Edison Intermediate School, Roosevelt Intermediate School, and Westfield High School. So again, that's May 12th, beginning at 5:30, courtyard, Westfield High School. All right, Westfield High School. Westfield High School Community Service Club will hold a dance marathon for all students, parents, and staff on Friday, May 11th, from 5 to 10 p.m. to raise money for the Children's Specialized Hospital in Mountainside. For more information, please email Community Service Club Advisor Warren Hines at whynes@westfieldnjk12.org. And that again is Friday, May 12th, 5 to 10. Gretchen, you got your dancing shoes?
Always.
Okay. And then this one is actually for the public in general. The public is invited to attend the 34th Annual Westfield Public School District's Art Show, which will be held in the Westfield High School Varsity Gymnasium from May 15th to 17th at 550 Dorian Road. A sampling of hundreds of pieces of artwork created by students representing all 10 public schools and grades, ranging from kindergarten through 12th, will be on display. On Tuesday, May 15th and Wednesday, May 16th, the artwork can be viewed from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Visitors are also welcome on Thursday, May 17th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Admission is free.
Thank you. Brendan.
Yes, I have 2. 3 Westfield High School juniors achieved the highest score possible on the math portion of the March 2018 SAT. Congratulations to Mackenzie Dulski, Alicia Israel, and Justin Joseph, who earned perfect scores of 800. This brings to 56 the number of Westfield High School students earning perfect scores on at least one portion of the SAT and ACT standardized tests for the 2017-2018 academic year. And congratulations to Westfield High School senior Kayla Egberts, who will represent Union County on May 16th at the New Jersey State Board of Education's annual recognition ceremony, honoring students who have made significant contributions to their schools, communities, families, or others.
I just have one. On April 28th, the Westfield High School Chorale had the honor of performing at Carnegie Hall in New York. The concert featured our students alongside other high school and adult choirs from around the country in one mass choir. The choir performed Randall Thompson's beloved 25-minute work, Frostiana, a collection of Robert Frost's poems set to music. The performance was accompanied by the New England Symphonic Ensemble, a professional orchestra. Congratulations to all our student vocalists and to our choir directors, John Brzezowski and Maureen Francis.
Thank you. My announcement is that our next Board of Education meeting is going to be held on Tuesday, May 22nd at 7:30 p.m. at 302 Elm Street. At that meeting, we're going to honor the state and regional performing arts students. A complete agenda of the meeting will be available on Friday, May 18th on the district website under the Board of Ed drop-down menu. At this point, I would invite anyone from the public for agenda items only. Okay, seeing no one come to the podium, we'll hop right into the business. First, I'd like to ask the board to approve the minutes of the board of our board meeting held on April 24th, 2018, and the private minutes of the same day. Can I have a second? Amy, thank you. Dana, are all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody abstain? Everybody was there? Okay. Personnel, Peggy.
I'd like the board to consider items 1 to 31. Do I have a second? Thanks, Kent. Dr. Dolan, I think that you have a couple that you would like to talk about.
I do. There are two personnel items that I would like to call out. The first one is personnel item number 9. And in this agenda item, I'm recommending to the board the appointment of our new supervisor of mathematics from kindergarten through 12th grade, and that is Elizabeth D'Alessandro. For this position, Paul Panera, our assistant superintendent, worked with our head of human resources, Barbara Ball. They reviewed approximately 80 applications. They had a committee composed of administrators, teachers, Paul and Barbara, and interviewed over 10 candidates. Elizabeth, or Liz, has had a 20-year career, and she's taught in Westfield for 19 of those years. Just about all those years are at Edison Intermediate School, but for the past year she's been in Westfield High School. But in addition to being a teacher who does an excellent job in the classroom, she's also been very involved in the math department in general, and also has done a number of professional development for other members of both the math department and other members of her school. Over the years, she's worked very closely with Dr. Kichek, who is now our supervisor of mathematics, and I believe she understands the district expectations, protocols, and philosophy from an administrative perspective, and I'm very happy to recommend Elizabeth. And the second agenda item I'd like to call out before the board vote is agenda item number 10. And this is a recommendation for the appointment of assistant principal at Westfield High School. And for this position, I'm recommending Warren Hines. Actually, you heard his name a little while ago because he has been the moderator for the Community Service Club in the high school, and we hear his name for that frequently, actually, at this table because it's an active group that he works with. So I'm very pleased to recommend Mr. Warren Hines for the vacant position of assistant principal at Westfield High School. Mr. Hines has worked at Westfield High School as an English and journalism teacher, and prior to coming here, he spent 5 years teaching English in the Boston metropolitan area. For this position, we received 251 applications. There was a thorough interview process, and again, it was conducted by a committee comprised of the district human resources specialist, high school administrative team, 3 high school teachers, a district supervisor, and the director of guidance. We talk about the fact that Mr. Hines has a strength that works for all students. He's able to reach our highest achieving students and challenge them, and also to provide support to those who might need a little bit of extra attention. He's also served in a number of ways as an advisor or coordinator in the high school. He is the advisor to Westfield High School's weekly newspaper, High's Eye, and again, as mentioned, he also volunteers to coordinate all the efforts of the Community Service Club. We think he's going to be a great addition to the high school administrative team, and I'm very happy to recommend Mr. Warren Hines.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Dolan on any personnel items? Dana?
Kent Diamond.
Yes.
Brendan Galligan.
Gretchen Oleg?
Yes.
Peggy Astor?
Yes.
Charles Ostroff?
Yes.
Amy Root?
Yes.
Congratulations to both of you. I'd like to extend an opportunity, if you'd like, although you certainly do not have to feel obligated. This is actually a really fun thing for me because both of those teachers have played a really integral role in my own kids' lives, and so I am forever grateful to both of you. So we'll just start, since you're first on the agenda, Ms. D'Alessandro, if you want to say a few words.
Everyone. I just wanted to say thank you to the Board of Ed, Dr. Dolan, Mr. Pinero, the selection committee for doing a fabulous job, I must say. But also, it's a fantastic opportunity for me, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, after teaching here for 19 years, I feel like I really have a true understanding of the math curriculum from kindergarten right through 12th grade. And having the experience at the middle school and the high school, two very critical points, enhances that opportunity. During my time here, Westfield has become a second family to me. And I love the fact that I get to go back and share my knowledge with those that I haven't met and learn from them as well. And really broaden my understanding of where the district has been and where it's going. And maintain that tradition of excellence. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much to the board and for Dr. Dolan and to all of the members of the selection committee and to Barbara Ball. It is my privilege to have been a teacher in Westfield High School for 14 years, and it is certainly my privilege to join the Westfield High School administrative team. I am certainly grateful to the leadership of Derek Nelson, Jim DeSarno, and Mabel Hun, and all of the work that they have done to provide such an important and enriching climate for our school at this time and throughout the past few years. My goal is to just be a productive part of their team, and also certainly to do all that I can to support the superb staff and students of Westfield High School. So thank you very much again.
And of course, you're welcome to stay, but we won't hold it against you if you don't. We'll jump right into facilities. I'm going to turn it over to Dana before we vote to talk a little bit about the Kaler Field project and the lawsuit that we're unfortunately embroiled in.
Right, so we have been talking for the last several years about the fact that the turf at Kaler is coming to its useful life, at the end of its useful life, and that we would need to replace that. So we've been planning for this project for the summer of 2018. We have money set aside in our capital reserve account for this project. Last October, the facilities committee of the board actually did a walkthrough of the entire area to finalize the plans, and our architects and engineers worked for months putting together construction documents and bid specifications because we are required to go out to bid for a project of this size. So we did all of that, and we advertised for bids on February 8th, intentionally doing that early so that we would be able to start construction as soon as the weather permitted us to do that. We opened bids on March 6th. The architect, the board attorney, and myself reviewed those bids, determined that the lowest bidder was, in fact, the lowest responsible bidder in all of our opinions from looking at all of the documents that they had submitted. So on March 19th, we made a recommendation to the board to award a contract to Your Way Construction, who was the low bidder. And the board did approve that night. The contractor was immediately given instructions to begin mobilizing and to plan for construction, and he did do that. A couple weeks later, the third bidder, so not the second low bidder, but the third bidder, H&S Mechanical, Construction and Mechanical, filed a challenge with Union County Court, claiming that the low bid was not sufficient and that the low bid should be dismissed. We actually appeared in court on April 13th. Judge Cassidy, I'm sorry, I drew a blank, was the Union County judge that listened to the arguments, read the documents. Her opinion was that the items that were missing from the bid documents that H&S claimed were material, she cited numerous cases that documented that those items were not considered material. So she agreed with the architect, the attorney, and myself and our opinion, and dismissed the case against us that was filed by H&S. 4 days later, they then filed an appeal, which they were granted, not granted the appeal, but granted to hear the appeal. So the court then issued a stay on our doing any work at that point again. So we are still in that period of we are not able to move forward. We were just told yesterday that we have a court date of June 7th. So our plan and our bid specifications were that work was going to start today. So not only have we lost between now and June 7th, we've lost all the planning that we had from the end of March till now. The bleachers have a very long lead time. They have about a 3.5 to 4 month lead time. So what we had already met before this complaint was filed with Your Way Construction, and they were already working on the documents to order the bleachers. So we would have been bleachers would have been ordered weeks ago. So we are now in a position that we have to wait until June 7th, but legally we cannot move forward. We still believe that we are in a strong position. There, as I said before, there were numerous cases that were cited to back up our opinion. So we will continue to fight this. On June 7th, if the judge that is assigned this case sides with us, then we'll be able to move forward. At that point, we're looking at delays of at least 4 to 6 weeks. We are planning for the fall season and what we will do in the fall season, whether or not we're going to be able to play football there, whether we maybe can put temporary bleachers there, and we're looking at different solutions to figure out how we can do that. One of our main concerns is if for some reason, that we don't understand, if the judge doesn't think that Your Way Construction should be awarded the contract, we now have a second bidder who will have a claim to this contract. So that will be another legal hurdle that we're going to have to jump through. Or whether or not Your Way will file a counterclaim, which they may, I don't know. So we're kind of in a position right now that we need to wait till June 7th. We may have the option to just say we're going to hold off the whole project until next year, but that will require us to go out to bid again and to go through all of that process another time. And also, part of this frustration is that these minor documents that were missing out of the paperwork for Your Way, and keep in mind, when they submit documents for construction bids, it's hundreds and hundreds of pages. So when we're talking about a couple of pages that were minor documents that were not in there, we're not talking about things that were really material at all. The second bidder on this project will cost us another $250,000 if we're required to go to that second bidder for a couple of pieces of paper. And the third bidder, if we wind up having to award it to him, it would be $260,000. But I don't even see how the second bidder would not be awarded the contract, because the second bidder doesn't even have these minor things not in there. So it's very, very frustrating because we have been planning for this for a number of years. The athletic department at the high school had worked with the spring sports to move some of their season at the end of the season so we could start right away. It's especially frustrating given the weather that we have right now, because this would have been wonderful weather to get started. So that's where we're at. We'll hope for a good outcome on June 7th, and then we'll hope for good weather in the summer, and we hopefully will have the field done and the track done by September, and we'll have to figure out the bleacher issue, and unless there's some way the bleachers get done quicker, but that doesn't look likely.
I just want to add to Dana's recitation of where we are, that a part of our application to the appellate division was, I think, multiple certifications from the district that we were going to be significantly damaged by continued delay. And so I think the hope was that that would result in a hearing sooner than June 7th, but unfortunately that didn't happen. I'm hopeful, though, that those certifications, as well as the fact that the trial court's opinion is so strong on the record, will result in a very quick resolution on June 7th, and we can get things started then, with worst case scenario being everything but the bleachers.
Right.
But so we'll keep you updated. I don't anticipate there being any change between now and June 7th, but certainly if there is.
We'll get a ruling on June 7th?
I'm sorry, say again?
We'll get a ruling on June 7th?
Not necessarily. That's oral argument. I mean, in a perfect world, we'll be so persuasive that they'll rule immediately from the bench in our favor, but.
They did in Union County.
Yeah.
When we appeared on April 13th in Union County, the judge immediately ruled after she listened to both sides. She immediately ruled, and she, as I said, cited numerous cases to back that up. Rick Kaplow feels that even if we don't get a decision that day, it shouldn't be that long after. But
so, and I'm sorry, and so, right, and Dana's, the additional concern, so H&S, who's filed the lawsuit against the district, is the third lowest bidder. So if for some reason they were to prevail, there's still the additional hurdle. My assumption would be, since they've gone to this effort to challenge the first bidder, that they would also seek to challenge the second bidder in order to get the job. So, yeah.
So just one quick question. The things that are missing are documents. They wouldn't change the bid at all. It's not like they left out 4 switches and whatever. The bid would still be the level at which it was when they gave it to us.
that's correct. The bidders are required, they have to be pre-qualified by the state of New Jersey, and they have to sign an affidavit of what their uncompleted contracts are, so that we know that they have the capacity to do the job that they can do. So some of their subcontractors, there's a statement of no material change that bidders must complete and put in with the bid documents. Some of their subcontractors did not have that, but there were numerous cases where the law has cited where it says bidders, not subcontractors, the bidders. So the bidder had included that document. Some of the other bidders included it for all their subcontractors. Your way did not. That's one of the main things that's made. So yes, it wouldn't change the way the project would be done or anything else at all.
If we get the approval from the judge to proceed on June 7th or June 13th or July 1st, and our contractor can mobilize quickly, could we complete all of the project except for leave the existing bleachers up? Or is the scope of the project such that it wouldn't make sense to try and do it partially?
I don't think we can keep the existing bleachers up. The contractor feels fairly confident that if we get a go-ahead on June 7th or close to it, that he can have the project done by early to mid-September without the bleachers. Mm-hmm. So whether or not we could possibly take those old bleachers and just move them, because they have to do work under the bleachers, and move them somewhere and then temporarily move them back, or rent bleachers, or, I mean, we have the cement bleachers, of course, that will be there, and be available. So, you know, but he's fairly certain that he's still, weather permitting. I mean, obviously we don't know what the weather's gonna be, but if the weather is on our side throughout most of the summer, he feels confident that he can get going. He's ready to order the bleachers. We were only 2 weeks away from ordering the bleachers. So the bleacher order will go in pretty quickly.
Thank you.
I don't know. Do we have to order the bleachers through a contractor? Is that required?
Well, it's not required, but it's required now because it's part of this contract. Had we known that this was going to be a problem, we would have done something different probably, but that's not, and now it is part of his contract. So that we can't do something different at this point. I don't think.
Is it, I mean, because it'd be a material change to that contract then? Is the way it was bid out?
It would. I mean, it would be a change order down, obviously. We did talk about that at one point, and I don't know. I'll revisit that and
Because
see
at
if
the end of the
that's-
day, no matter who we use, is gonna have to install those bleachers.
Right, and there's actually only a couple companies that make the bleachers.
So could we look into that?
So I will. I know we did talk about it at one point, but I'll talk to George Duthie about it again.
Okay,
Now
thank
that
you.
we're in this situation and see if that's feasible.
And then
And
on-
maybe I mean, I don't think we should do anything until June 7th, though. That's the problem, because if something happens and we're not moving forward with this project now, you don't want to have bleachers on
No,
order.
and I don't disagree with that, I'm just
So
saying.
I'm not sure
something-
that is going to get us anywhere any quicker.
And to pay George to do the shop drawings for the bleachers when our contractor's already done most of them.
Yeah.
It's just a duplication of
Yeah, I
effort.
guess, but what I'm saying is there's also gonna be a cost as it relates to if I gotta go out and get temporary bleachers,
Oh,
right? It's
absolutely.
like, who does this?
Mhm.
Where do
Right.
we get them?
Now,
How do
we'll
they
definitely
install?
talk about it again. If there's something we can do to speed up the process, to have it ready, that George can do instead of the contractor, or something, maybe, I'll definitely talk to him and see if there's anything we can do to that.
Thank you. Thank
Sure,
See if the vendor will do it on more of a rush order.
yeah.
Lowest bidder, the winning bidder, is also a party to the lawsuit that's been filed by H&S. So they've also, filed briefs in support of the legitimacy of their bid, so.
Yes, and they
Okay.
they will continue to be with us. And the second bidder has not been part of this, but the second bidder is very much aware of what is going on. And H&S actually referred to them in one of their briefs as though they had agreed with H&S. And Your Way Construction's attorneys had sent a certification into the court saying that's absolutely not true. That was signed by the second bidder's attorney, saying that's absolutely not true. We did not agree with that. So they're very much, although they're not involved, they're aware of what's going on and paying attention, and they'll be ready to, but the reason they're not involved is because they didn't feel there was a good case against the low bidder, so they weren't
Right.
going to spend money to fight something that they didn't think they would win.
Right, which is
Otherwise, they would have
significant.
been, right, otherwise they would have been there too, so.
Okay. Moving on, I circulated notes today from our Facilities Committee meeting last Friday. Please reach out if you have any questions. I'm sorry for the late delivery, but I would, at this point, ask the board to consider facilities item number 1. If I could have a second, please.
Second.
Brendan, thank you. So this is the submission of a grant for sidewalk repair and replacement.
Yeah, this grant is from New Jersey Schools Insurance Group. That's the consortium that we purchase all of our insurance from, our liability and that kind of insurance. And every year they offer grants money back to school districts in the form of a grant that has to be used for safety. So we designated this for some concrete work.
Any questions? Dana?
Kent Diamond,
Yes.
Brendan Galligan,
Yes.
Gretchen Olig,
Yes.
Peggy Oster,
Yes.
Charles Ostroff,
Yes.
Amy Root.
Moving on, long-range planning. Amy?
Well, most of the committee met at 6 o'clock tonight, right before we had our celebration here for Mrs. Montez. So I have not drawn up minutes and circulated them to the full board yet. But we continue to talk about the strategic plan and the goals that are set forth there and what we can do as a board to support that. Talking about wellness and resiliency for the whole school community, staff and students and parents where possible. And we would plan to have one more meeting before the end of the school year. So watch your email. I will be circulating some dates. And we'll meet again and see if we can move along.
Great, thank you. Policies, Brendan? Brendan?
I asked the board to approve policy item number 1. Can I have a second? Thank you, Kent. This is approving the superintendent's decision on HIB incident 18E05 for the reasons set forth therein.
Ken Diamond,
Yes.
Brendan Galligan,
Yes.
Gretchen Oleg,
Yes.
Peggy Astor,
Yes.
Charles Astroff,
Yes.
Amy Root.
Yes.
And the Policies Committee is meeting next Tuesday night.
Curriculum, instruction, and programming. In Mike's absence, I would ask the board to consider curriculum items 1 and 2. Can I have a second, please? Amy, thank you. So the first item are the district field trips that were attached to the agenda. The second is the first reading of social studies curriculum that was reviewed at the last SIP meeting in the regular 5-year course, AP Psychology and Psychology through Film and Literature, both very popular elective courses, social studies courses at the high school, and they were presented to us as updating with current science standards. And my memory from the curriculum meeting was that there was a sort of a course, a guide to help teachers to sort of plan, you know, how long each part of the course should last, and they were great. I mean, those are great classes. So sitting in curriculum meeting and having them presented to us is very good. So does anybody have any questions, or I don't know if I missed anything? Yeah. Okay. Dana.
Yes.
Brendan Galligan,
Yes.
Gretchen Oleg,
Yes.
Peggy Astor,
Yes.
Charles Astroff,
Yes.
Amy Root.
Yes. Moving on to finance. Charles.
Okay, I would like the board for consideration items 1 through 8. But before we vote, I was waiting for the second. Before we vote, I'd like to point out item number 8, which is accept a gift of $1,815.98 from the Lincoln School PTO to purchase an Ellison die cutter Excel machine to be used by the preschool and kindergarten classes. And I actually did look up what that is, just so I knew what I was talking about. So I would like to thank the PTO for their generous donation, and I am sure that the classes are definitely going to get a lot of use out of it. Dana?
Kent Diamond,
Yes.
Brendan Galligan,
Yes.
Gretchen Oleg,
Yes.
Peggy Astor,
Yes.
Charles Astroff,
Yes.
Amy Root.
Yes.
And our next finance meeting is this Friday at 8 a.m. So our agenda has been sent out by Dana. I look forward to seeing everybody.
Great. Technology. Peggy.
I don't have any report. Our next meeting is Friday, May 18th, and I think we're looking forward to seeing some updates on the website at that point in time. So at our next meeting, we'll be hopefully able to discuss this.
I'd ask the board to note the notes for the record. Unfinished business. Dana, I'm so sorry I have to do this. I had a big fat note right here and I missed it. I need to abstain from personnel item number 14. So if you could change my vote on
Okay.
that. Is there any other unfinished business that we need to talk about? Okay, any new business? Any liaison reports? Yes.
This Saturday, I was down in Trenton for the New Jersey School Boards Association's legislative meeting. We had Senator Sweeney's chief of staff present to talk about school funding and sort of where they see things going this year and next year. His general thinking is, like last year, there's going to be changes well after the school year is done to school funding. It shouldn't affect districts like ours that got more money last year because we were underfunded to begin with. But districts that got more hold harmless aid last year than they were supposed to will continue to see decreases as the rest of the districts are brought up to speed. Over the next 5 to 10 to 150 years, we'll eventually get full funding. The key point that he wanted to stress is that there's a strong consensus forming with extraordinary special ed costs, that the state will actually start picking up more of their contribution. By law, they're supposed to pick up 85%, right? Currently, it's been about a 50-50 split. And there's talk that the state will take over full responsibility beyond our normal education costs for special ed costs, particularly for out-of-district placements that can sometimes be $50,000 to $200,000 depending on the student and their placement. So it's encouraging. Nothing's finalized yet, but hopefully things start shifting in that direction.
Thank you. Thanks for always representing us at those meetings. Appreciate it. Any other liaison reports? At this point, we would recognize the public for questions and comments. Okay, seeing no one come to the podium, I'd ask the board to to approve the following resolution. Be it resolved that the Board of Education move into private session for the purpose of discussing matters rendered confidential by state and federal law, contracts, the board's self-evaluation, the superintendent's evaluation, and harassment, intimidation, and bullying incidents. And be it further resolved that any discussion held by the board which need not remain confidential, and the results of the discussion will be made public as soon as practicable. Can I have a second? Thank you, Kent. All in favor?
Yes.
All opposed, and no opposed. We are going to adjourn to the library for our private session.
With your chair.
With their chair. Please
BYOC.
take your chair. Thank you very much.
If you don't bring your chair, you have to stand.